Every Arnie player has experienced this. You blink perfectly, land right beside your target, pull the trigger, and somehow they survive. The problem isn't your blink, it isn't your aim, and it definitely isn't Arnie. It's your weapon mods. Most players build Arnie for raw damage, but Arnie already has some of the highest burst damage in Bullet Echo. What he really needs is consistency. The right weapon mods make every blink, every peek, and every shotgun blast far more reliable. This isn't just a build guide, it's a decision guide. Today, I'll show you exactly which weapon mod deserve your investment, and why. Muzzle slot. Let's begin with the muzzle. This slot decides whether Arnie secures the elimination, or gives his enemy a second chance. There's one clear winner here. Splinter. Armor is one of the few things that can actually stop Arnie's momentum. Against squishy heroes, Arnie already hits like a truck. But tanks are a different story. That's exactly where Splinter shines. The extra armor penetration helps your shotgun blast tear through armored targets without changing your aggressive playstyle. Every blink still feels explosive. The difference is that your damage stays threatening, even against the toughest heroes. That's why Splinter comfortably earns a #1 spot. The closest challenger is Nocturne. Instead of helping against armor, it increases your fire rate. And for Arnie, that's incredibly valuable. Sometimes your first shotgun blast leaves an enemy with just a sliver of health. Nocturne shortens the time between shots, letting you finish the job before they escape or fight back. It's an excellent weapon mod, but Arnie struggles more against armor than waiting for another shot. That's why Nocturne finishes just behind Splinter. That leaves us with Skarn. At first glance, extra magazine size sounds like a great idea. More shells should mean more opportunities to win the fight. But here's the problem. Arnie isn't designed to survive long shotgun battles. He's designed to end them immediately. Experienced Arnie players rarely lose because they ran out of ammo. They lose because their first shot wasn't effective enough. That's why armor penetration and fire rate offer much more value. Skarn isn't bad. It simply doesn't solve Arnie's biggest problems. Final verdict. If you're only crafting one upper muzzle, build Splinter. It's the most consistent upgrade, and the one you'll feel in almost every match. Final muzzle slot. Now let's move to the final muzzle. Unlike the previous slot, this one has an obvious winner. Shredder. Everything about this weapon mod fits Arnie perfectly. More fire rate, more armor penetration. Those are two of the most valuable stats for a shotgun hero who lives inside point-blank range. Your second shot comes faster. Armored enemies become much easier to finish. Even though Shredder slightly reduces your firing range, that's barely noticeable, because if you're fighting from long distance, you're already giving away Arnie's biggest advantage. Shredder rewards the exact playstyle Arnie was designed for. That makes Vintlock the runner-up. Extra magazine size is always useful. It gives you more breathing room during longer engagements or chaotic team fights. But that's not where Arnie excels. His job isn't to survive extended fights. His job is to blink in, delete the target, and immediately take control of the engagement. For that reason, Shredder stays comfortably ahead. Final verdict. If you're investing in only one final muzzle, choose Shredder. It gives Arnie everything he wants without asking you to change the way you play. Sight slot. Now let's talk about the biggest reason Arnie players leave enemies alive. Shotgun spread. Every pellet that misses is damage you never dealt. And with Arnie, missing just a few pellets can completely change the outcome of the fight. That's why this slot is incredibly important. There's one clear winner. Frosthook. The reason is simple. Less weapon spread. Tighter shotgun blasts. More pellets landing on target means more consistent burst damage in every fight. Your blink combo becomes far more reliable. Yes, the slightly longer reload is noticeable, but compared to the accuracy you gain, it's an easy trade. That's why Frosthook earns a top spot. Close behind his Dreadlash. Instead of tightening your shotgun spread, it extends your firing range. And there are definitely moments where that feels useful. Maybe the enemy backs away. Maybe your blink doesn't land perfectly. That extra range gives you a little more flexibility. But Arnie doesn't dominate because he shoots farther. He dominates because almost every pellet hits the target. Consistency will always be the little extra range. That's why Dreadlash takes second place. That leaves Shade Weld. Piercing power can occasionally create value, especially when enemies line up perfectly. But those situations don't happen often. Weapon spread affects every fight, every blink, every shotgun blast, every close-range duel. And because of that, Shade Weld simply can't compete with Frosthook. Final verdict. If you're only building one upper sight, build Frosthook. Accuracy wins more fights than extra range ever will. Final sight slot. Now we come to the strongest sight in Arnie's entire build, Grafton. This weapon mod takes everything Frosthook started and pushes it even further. 15% less weapon spread is enormous for a shotgun. Suddenly, your pellets stay grouped together far more consistently. Now combine that with Frosthook. Instead of hoping most of your pellets connect, you start expecting them to. Your blink combo feels cleaner, more reliable, far more dangerous. Exactly what Arnie needs. The only challenger is Hex Root. Extra piercing power, extra firing range. Both are solid bonuses, but neither one changes Arnie's performance as dramatically as reducing weapon spread. Arnie doesn't win because he shoots farther. He wins because every pellet lands exactly where it should. That's why Grafton remains a clear winner. Final verdict. If you're crafting only one final sight, build Grafton. No other sight transforms Arnie's shotgun as much as this one. With your muzzle and sights optimized, Arnie's shotgun is already becoming far more reliable. But there's still one problem. Accuracy means nothing if you lose at the moment you start moving. And Arnie is always moving. That's why the spring slot is so important. Spring slot. Arnie wasn't built to stand still. Every fight starts with a blink. Then comes the strafe, the reposition, the chase. If your accuracy drops every time you move, you're fighting against your own weapon mods. There's one clear winner here. Mold Twing. This weapon mod reduces weapon spread while moving, and that's exactly what Arnie wants. Every blink puts you into motion. Every close range fight demands movement. Mold Twing keeps your shotgun tight, even while you're strafing around your opponent. Instead of choosing between movement and accuracy, you get both. That's why Mold Twing comfortably takes first place. The closest challenger is Veilrend. Extra magazine size is always useful, especially during chaotic team fights where multiple enemies need to be finished quickly. More shells give you extra breathing room. But here's the difference. Extra ammo helps after things go wrong. Better movement accuracy helps prevent those mistakes in the first place. That's why Veilrend settles for second. That leaves Krang. At first, armor penetration sounds like a powerful upgrade, and against tanks, it certainly has value. But then comes a downside. Increased moving spread. For most heroes, that might be acceptable. For Arnie, it's a serious problem. Your entire playstyle depends on staying mobile. Making your shotgun less accurate while moving works against everything Arnie does best. That's why Krang finishes last. Final verdict. If you're only crafting one upper spring, build Mold Twing. Movement is Arnie's greatest strength. Your weapon mod should strengthen it, not weaken it. Final spring slot. Now let's finish the springs. And once again, there's one weapon mod that stands above the rest. Obelisk. This feels like it was designed specifically for Arnie. Another 15% reduction to moving fire spread. Plus, extra magazine size. Every stat works together. Blink, move, shoot, repeat. Your shotgun stays consistent throughout the entire fight. You never feel forced to slow down just to stay accurate. That's exactly how Arnie should play. The runner-up is Scathril. Armor penetration, extra magazine size. Both are useful, especially against heavily armored enemies. But once again, there's a cost. More moving spread. And for Arnie, that's simply too expensive. Movement accuracy wins more fights than extra armor penetration. That's why Obelisk stays comfortably ahead. Final verdict. If you're investing in only one final spring, choose Obelisk. Nothing complements Arnie's blink playstyle better. Grip slot. Now we reach the final piece of the puzzle, the grip. This slot decides how quickly Arnie recovers when the first shot isn't enough. There's one clear winner. Fractal. More fire rate means faster recovery between shotgun blasts. Every Arnie player has experienced that moment. Your enemy survives with almost no health. You pull the trigger again, but you're just a fraction too slow. Fractal fixes that. Your follow-up shot comes sooner, and that tiny difference often decides who walks away alive. That's why Fractal earns a #1 spot. Not far behind is Artemis. Extra firing range gives you more flexibility during awkward engagements or while chasing retreating enemies. A solid option, but Arnie rarely loses because he needed slightly more range. He loses because he can't finish the fight fast enough. Fire rate simply provides more value. That leaves Grizzle. Extra armor damage, extra drone damage. Useful? Absolutely. Consistent? Not really. Those bonuses only shine in specific situations. Fractal improves every engagement. That's why Grizzle lands in third. Final verdict. If you're crafting only one upper grip, build Fractal. Faster follow-up shots win more fights and situational damage bonuses. Final grip slot. Now for the final decision. The weapon mod that completes the entire build. Fang. This isn't just the best final grip. It's one of the strongest weapon mods in Arnie's entire build. More fire rate, more firing range, 2 stats that perfectly complement his aggressive playstyle. Every missed elimination becomes easier to recover from. Every blink feels more forgiving. Every engagement becomes smoother. Everything simply flows better. That's why Fang comfortably takes the top spot. The runner-up is Medusa. Against armored heroes, it performs well. Extra armor damage can definitely make a difference. But outside those specific matchups, Fang offers far more value. It improves every game, not just certain ones. That's why Fang finishes first. Final verdict. If you're only building one final grip, build Fang. It completes the entire weapon mod build better than anything else. Complete build. Now let's put everything together. For the muzzle, build Splinter, followed by Shredder. For the sights, build Frosthook, followed by Grafton. For the springs, build Moltwing, followed by Obelisk. And for the grips, build Fractal, followed by Fang. This isn't a build focused on dealing more damage. It's a build focused on making every shot count. When all of these weapon mods come together, something changes. Arnie doesn't suddenly become stronger. He becomes more reliable. Every blink feels cleaner. Every shotgun blast lands tighter. Every follow-up shot arrives faster. And the fights that once felt unpredictable start feeling completely under your control. Because mastering Arnie was never about adding more damage. It was about removing every weakness holding him back. Today's quiz. Now for today's quiz. Which final spring mod is my #1 recommendation? A. Scaffold. B. Obelisk. Comment your answer below, and I'll reveal the correct answer in the pinned comment. And while you're there, tell me which hero you want to see next in the weapon mod series. If this guide helped you, don't forget to subscribe to Last Stand Echo for more in-depth bullet echo guides. Because Last Stand isn't luck, it's control.